So let's talk about a really powerful way to customize Claude. It's a feature called Skills. And the idea here is super simple. Teach the AI how to do something complex just once so you can benefit from it every single time without repeating yourself.
You know the feeling, right? You open up a new chat with your AI. And here we go again. You spend the first 5 minutes just getting it up to speed, explaining the context, reminding it of your style guide, walking it through your specific workflow. It's like you're stuck in an AI version of Groundhog Day. Every single conversation starts from square one. Well, that is exactly a problem that we are going to solve today.
And this slide, this just says it all. On the left, that's life right now. It's this long, detailed, carefully crafted prompt that you have to write out every single time. But on the right, that's the future. A simple, clean command. The AI already knows the entire workflow because you've taught it a skill, packing all that messy complexity away behind a really simple trigger. So, how do we make that leap? How do we get from that giant wall of text to a three-word command? Well, the solution is all about capturing and being able to reuse those complex, repeatable workflows. And this is where we officially introduce the idea of skills. So, what exactly is a skill? Think of it like a little package of instructions that teaches Claude a very specific process. It's way more than just remembering a simple preference. This is about embedding your entire multi-step workflow, your actual expertise, directly into the AI itself. And here's where it gets really interesting, how skills work together with other tools. This brings us to a fantastic analogy, a professional kitchen. See, the tools Claude can already connect to, things like Notion or Figma, that's the kitchen. You've got all the ingredients, all the fancy equipment. But, just having a great kitchen doesn't make you a Michelin star chef. You need recipes. This table just breaks it down perfectly. The tool access, that's the professional kitchen. It defines what Claude can do. But the skill, that's your personal recipe book. It explains exactly how Claude should do it. It provides that step-by-step expertise you need to create something amazing every single time. Okay, so this sounds pretty powerful, right? But you might be wondering, isn't loading all this custom info going to be slow or, expensive on tokens? And that brings us to the secret sauce behind skills, a design principle that makes them incredibly efficient. It all comes down to this one core principle, progressive disclosure. The big idea here is to give Claude just enough information at exactly the right time without totally overwhelming it with stuff it doesn't need for the task at hand. It's smart, it's lean, and it's super economical. Here's how it works, broken down into 3 levels. First, you've got this tiny little description that's always available. It acts as a trigger, just helping Claude decide if a skill is even relevant. If it is, and only if it is, does it then load level 2, the full instructions, the whole recipe. And finally, if the task needs even more detail, Claude can pull in extra reference documents on an as-needed basis. It's like a just-in-time information system. Now, of those 3 levels, listen up, because that first one is the most important one. You absolutely have to get this right. This small piece of text, this description, is basically the magic incantation. It's the gatekeeper that tells Claude your skill exists and, crucially, when to use it. And that is why a good description is everything. Look at the left. Helps with projects. That's totally useless. Claude has no idea what to do with that. But the description on the right, it's perfect. It says exactly what it does, analyzes Figma files, and it lists the exact trigger phrases and file types. The biggest takeaway here is you have to be specific. All right, so we get what skills are, we get how they work. Now for the fun part. What can you actually do with them? Let's get into the real-world payoffs, the stuff that's going to make your life easier. First up, creating documents and assets. Imagine generating reports or presentations or even code that always follows your team's style guide. You can literally embed your brand standards and quality checklists right into the skill, making sure every single output is perfect every time. Next, let's talk about workflow automation. This is for those really complex multi-step processes that are a pain to do manually. A skill can act like an orchestrator, coordinating actions across a bunch of different tools, making sure best practices are followed, and even setting up little validation gates before it moves on to the next step. And finally, making your tools way smarter. And this brings us right back to our kitchen analogy. If you have a tool connected to Claude, a skill can add this layer of intelligence right on top. It turns that raw access into a reliable workflow, like automatically analyzing a bug report from Sentry and proposing a fix, or managing your sprint planning in Asana based on your team's unique process.
Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds amazing, but maybe a little complex to build. Well, the whole point is to make things easier. So let's talk about your first step into this world. And trust me, it's way more approachable than you think.
So here's the best part. You do not have to start from scratch. You don't have to be some master architect to build your first one. There is a skill to build skills. No joke. It's called the Skill Creator, and it's basically this interactive guide that walks you through the entire process from defining what you want it to do all the way to writing the instructions. And how long does this take? Get this. You can expect to build and test your first working skill in just 15 to 30 minutes. That's it. That's an incredibly low barrier to entry for something this powerful, and it's designed so you can just jump in, try things, and learn as you go. So that really brings us to the final question, the one for you to think about. After seeing all of this, from the simple command to the complex workflow automation, what is that one tedious, repetitive task you do all the time? What's the first workflow you're going to teach your AI?